All right, what are we going to do? Howdy doody time? Is that what we do? They don't even know that. Do they know Captain Kangaroo? What's a kid's show you watch? Puppy?
No, Blue.
Bluey. What's Bluey? A goat? A cat. It's a dog. It's like a dog. Okay, fine, it's a dog. No, what we do is precept steps. You're whispering, Elliot. I can't hear you.
Diligently seeking her.
Diligently seeking after Yahweh by obeying his word. All right, I finally got this open. Should have done that ahead of time. Sorry. All right, so precept steps. We're going to follow after Yahweh. I got to tell you guys, we're almost done with the Torah. Can you believe it? Just a few more weeks, and we will have gone through all of the first 5 books. And it makes sense? Or it doesn't make sense? Makes sense? Okay, good. I hope so. All right. I don't have it. Oh, there it is. Clicker. There we go. All right, now we're set. Okay, so this Torah portion is Deuteronomy chapter 3, starting with verse 23 through 7:11. And we've got a big, big, big Hebrew word up there, don't we? I'm not going to make you guys do the. Do you recognize any of the letters, Augie? Elliot, you recognize any of the letters up there? What about the second letter? Second letter from this side. From the right. An aleph? Good job. That is exactly what the second letter is. Good job. Okay, this really big Hebrew word is va'et kana, and it means I pleaded. So it opens up with Moshe, talking to Yahweh, and he's like, oh, man, Yahweh, would you please reconsider? Because Yahweh has told him he can't go into the promised land. He can't cross the river Jordan. He can't go into the land of milk and honey.
But what if he didn't listen?
What if he didn't listen and went anyway? I think that's a really bad idea.
Yeah, that would be
That's a really bad idea. But he asks, he pleads with Yahweh and says, please let me go in. Do you remember why Moses can't go into the promised land? Do you remember that story?
Because they didn't be. I think they didn't do what
They didn't do what God said, and there was a specific thing. Do you know, Augie? Do you know the specific thing that Moses did that God said he was supposed to speak to the rock, and what did he do instead? He whacked it. Yeah. All right. So that seems like not a big deal, but it kind of is. And so Yahweh says to Moses, all right, this is what I'm going to do for you. You don't get to go in the land. I'm not changing my mind on that. But he says this to him. He says, climb up to the top of Pisgah. That's the name of a very high mountain. Right? Pisgah. Yeah. Climb up to the top of Mount Pisgah and look out to the west, the north, the south, and the east. So look in every direction. Look with your eyes, but you will not go across this Yarden. You will not cross the Jordan River into the promised land. So you can look at it. And I would venture to guess, the Bible doesn't say this, but for some of the things that Moses says to the people later on, I think Moses saw a lot more than the countryside. I think Moshe saw the future of Israel and what was going to happen to them, at least partially, maybe in whole. I think he had a vision while he was on Mount Pisgah. And Moshe starts talking to them. Now remember, here's Moshe standing on the side of a mountain, maybe, up on a rock or something. He's kind of above the people, probably, I would guess. And how many people did we say he was talking to? Do you remember last week? 2 million, probably. At least 2 million people. Can you imagine trying to be out in the wilderness? You don't have this. You don't have a speaker system. How did he possibly address 2 million people? Did he yell really loud?
I think you were talking about the soldiers.
Yes, we did. We extrapolated that number from the number of soldiers. You're absolutely right, Elliot. Good memory. So that was kind of a miracle in and of itself, that all the people could hear him speaking. And he says, this is Teresa's paraphrasing, all right? I'm going to remind you of all the instructions that we've gotten from Yahweh so far. Since we left Egypt until we've gotten here, 40 years later, I want to remind you of all the things that Yahweh told us. Why? Because it is our job, our sole job, to be different than the world. We are Yahweh's people, and we are called to be different. And he says this to him. Therefore, observe them, all these instructions, all these teachings, and follow them. For then, what happens if we do that? All the peoples will see you as having wisdom. See you as being really smart and understanding. Know stuff. When they hear all these laws, they will say, this great nation is surely a wise and understanding people. For what great nation is there that has God as close to them as Adonai our God is whenever we call on him? Nobody's got a God like this, and they know it. Okay? What great nation is there that has laws and rulings as just as this entire Torah, which I am setting before you today? We are to keep the laws of Yahweh, to be his people as a witness to the world, because trust me, whether we think it is or not, the eyes of the world are upon us, and they want to see what Yahweh's people are doing, and we need to be up to the task. Remember this picture? It's been a while. The mountain, right? When God came down the mountain in fire, and what did he do? He gave us the 10 Commandments. Yeah?
A big bush of fire.
Well, there was a big bush of fire. Yes, you're right. Moshe talked to a bush on fire, didn't he? But see all the tents down at the bottom? This is the mountain of fire.
I thought that was that electrical stuff was like
Lightning?
yeah, lightning.
Yeah, it is. It's lightning. Lightning and thunder and fire and smoke.
Yeah.
Moshe's like, remember that?
God to do a silly work.
Don't forget that. That was an important thing. You have to remember that. So he says to them, only be careful and watch yourself diligently as long as you live, so that you won't forget what you saw with your own eyes, so that these things won't vanish from your hearts. Rather, make them, what's it say here? Known to your children. That's why I'm here. Yahweh commands it. I have to teach you. We have to teach you. Okay? And grandchildren. Okay? The day you stood before Adonai your God at Horeb, that's just another name for Sinai. When Adonai said to me, gather the people to me, and I will make them hear my very words, so that they will learn to hold me in awe as long as they live on earth. And he says it again. And so they will teach their children. You see, if we don't teach you, if I let you slide, then I'm not obeying Yahweh, just like Moses didn't, right? And then he talks to him about the danger of idols.
If God wasn't made no earth, then earth equal no people.
You saying because God created all of us and the earth?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm saying that.
He read Genesis today.
Okay. Okay. All right. Now Moshe starts to warn them. I know this is going to be a problem for you. Idol worship. Idol worship in the land of Canaan is rampant. And if you're not careful, you're going to get sucked in. So he says, watch out. Watch out for yourselves. Since you did not see a shape of any kind on the day Adonai spoke to you, all you saw was smoke and fire. You didn't see a shape of a man or the shape of an animal. All you saw was smoke and fire. No shape of any kind on the day Adonai spoke to you in Horeb from the fire. Therefore, no idols, no images. And then he tells them something that's going to happen. If you fall into idolatry, if you start to worship idols instead of me or even alongside me, Adonai will scatter you among the peoples. You're not going to be his nation anymore. And among the nations to which Adonai will lead you away, and you will be left few in number. But as Yahweh always does for us, he tells us something bad's going to happen. If you don't obey me, something bad's going to happen. But guess what? I'm going to make it right. And he says, however, when you're scattered out there, excuse me, when you're scattered out there, you will seek Adonai, your God, and you will find him. If you search after him with all your heart and being, in your distress when all these things have come upon you, in the Harik Hayamin, which is the last days, you will return to Adonai your God and listen to what he says. There are those, and I'm in that camp, that believe that the Hebrew Roots movement, or whatever you want to call it, this return to the whole Bible, is a fulfillment of this very promise. That he has scattered us to the nations, but we have found him, and we have returned to his ways.
Amen.
And remember what he said in the mountain? Remember these, the 10 words, the 10 commandments? Remember these? I am Adonai your God. You have no other gods before me. Don't misuse my name. Observe the Sabbath. Honor your father and mother.
I thought one said,
Reason Sabbath instead of Sabbath.
I thought, there was a commandment where it said, do not, murder.
Yeah, I'm getting to it. That was the very next one. Do not murder. Do not commit adultery. Do not steal. Do not give false witness or don't lie. Do not covet anything that belongs to your neighbor. And there was something that Moshe adds here that we didn't learn in Exodus, and that's what Yahweh says about the people after they've heard these commands. And they said, yes, we're going to do everything Yahweh says. Yahweh said to Moshe, oh, how I wish their hearts would stay like this always, that they would fear me and obey all my mitzvot, so that it would go well with them and their children forever. That's Yahweh's heart. Okay? In this section of scripture, we also have something that we call the Shema. Okay? And anybody that wants to say it along with me, but I do want to explain the picture first. It is a Jewish tradition to, when you say, Hear, O Israel, to put your right hand over your eyes, because they want to emphasize that it is not what I see, but what I hear from Yahweh. I need to listen to his words. Okay, so here we go. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. Okay? And the rest of it is, and these words that I command you today shall be upon your heart. And here it is again. And you shall teach them diligently to your children. Think Yahweh doesn't want us to forget to teach our kids? And you shall talk of them when you sit in your house and when you walk by the way and when you lie down and when you rise. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand. and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. That is the Shema. Do you have a question, Elliot? Or are you going to hide under the table? I'm okay with either. Okay. And interestingly enough, Yeshua is questioned about this very thing. Young Pharisee comes to him and says, he's trying to trick him. And he says, what's the greatest commandment? And Yeshua answers him and says, you are to love what we just said. The greatest commandment, you are to love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. This is the greatest and most important mitzvah. And a second is similar to it. You are to love your neighbor as yourself. All of the Torah and the prophets are dependent on these two mitzvot. Think they're important? So here's the question. How do we know how to love God? Do you know how to love God?
Yes, very good.
How do we love our neighbor? Just make it up as we go along? You see, that's where Yahweh understands that we need parameters, right? We need rules. And that's why the 10 Commandments is based, I have the picture of the 10 Commandments up there, because the first 4 commandments are how we love Yah. Take care of his name. Remember who he is. Keep the Sabbath. And the rest of the commandments are about how we love each other, how we love our neighbor. Obey your father and mother. Don't murder. Don't lie. Don't steal. Okay? So we don't have to stand around and wonder how to do these 2 commands. Yahweh's already lined it out for us. And there's one more admonition in this section that I thought was worth discussing. Well, we got a picture up there. They're having a good time, right? They're having a nice meal outside, good weather, no bugs. I'm sure it's great. Okay? You have to remember, Israel is going to cross the Jordan, and they're going to move into Canaan, and they're going to take over. The inhabitants that are already there are going to either be killed or leave. And they're going to move into their cities. They're going to move into their homes. They're going to inherit their grapevines and their olive trees. Okay? And he talks about it here. He says, and when the Lord your God brings you into the land that he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Yaakov, to give you with great and good cities that you did not build, and houses full of good things that you did not fill, and cisterns that you did not dig, and vineyards and olive trees that you did not plant. I'm just handing all this stuff to you. You didn't do any of it. And you're going to sit down, and you're going to eat, and you're going to get full. He says, be careful. Be careful when you're fat and sassy. Okay? You've had your fill of food, and life is good, and everything's fine. Be careful. Then take care, lest you forget Adonai, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. It's a very important admonition. When everything's going well, we're not worried about money, got plenty of food on the table. It's just human tendency to think, I did this myself. And you forget the Lord your God. And we must be very careful not to do that. Okay, going to do a little Hebrew. Last week we talked about the first month of the biblical calendar, the month of Nisan. This is the month of Iyar. It's also known as the month of Ziv, and we find that in 1 Kings 6:1. There's some things that traditionally are associated with this month. One of the main things is the Hebrew letter Vav. And if you remember, Vav is like connection. It's like a nail or a tent peg. Okay, it's a connection, which is very appropriate because what happens during the month of Iyar? Do you remember the map? Do you remember going from Passover to Shavuot and you put stickers on the map? Remember that? The counting of the Omer, that happens in the month of Iyar. Okay. It's associated with the tribe of Issachar. Now, I'm not going to make you do the Hebrew, but give it a good look. Notice there's 2 S's in Issachar, and there's also 2 shins, so that's the first good clue. Okay. It happens during the month of April, May. So last part of April, first part of May. And the main constellation that is in the sky is Taurus, or the bull, and it's a symbol of strength. And I believe a symbol of the father. David, correct me if I'm not. Yes. It's just to remind us of the strength of the father. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk about one more thing that happened just 2 days ago on Thursday. On Thursday, it was the 9th of Av. And during the 9th of Av, in 423 BCE, the first temple was destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylonians. Temple was destroyed completely down to the ground. All right. Okay. And then in 69 CE, as the Romans drew closer to the second temple, the Jews were shocked to realize that the second temple was also destroyed on the same day as the first. The temple was destroyed twice on the 9th of Av. Now, one might wonder why that is. Well, there's some possible explanations. Way back, remember when they came and they sent the 12 spies into the land of Canaan? Remember that story? And 10 of them came back and said, well, yeah, it was pretty good land, but hey, guess what? There's giants. And we're scared and we don't want to go. And the people refused to go in. That also was on the 9th of Av. Yeah, and more. Okay? Fast forward a few years. 133 CE. We have the Battle of Batar, which was, he was a messianic leader. And much of Israel thought that he was maybe even the Messiah, and that he was going to deliver them from Rome. He did not. And he lost this battle and died that day. And 1 year from that day, the Romans plowed over and desecrated Temple Mount, both on the 9th of Av. All right. Let's see. Let's go to 1290. Is that the next one? Yeah. 1290 CE, on the 9th of Av, all Jews were expelled from England. They had to leave their homes, leave out the businesses they had built. They had to leave. Followed shortly in 1492 with the Jews being banished from Spain, also on the 9th of Av. Anybody else know what happened in 1492? Yeah, Columbus saw the ocean blue. I thought that was an interesting thing. I don't think it was on the 9th of Av, though. Okay. And surprisingly enough, these things continue. In 1914, World War I also began on the 9th of Av. So because of all of this, it is known as a day of lamentation. It is a fasting day. Much of Judah, at least Orthodox Judaism, fasts on that day and read the book of Lamentations. And I don't know. I have it up there. Did Miss Kathy make sheets? I don't know. I don't know whether she was able to or not. So you may have some stuff to do or maybe not. Thank you.